Namaste, friends. Welcome to this class. My name is Mike. Behind me is my cat Prana. You can see a little bushy tail poking out there. Today we'll be doing a well-rounded flow with twists, balancing poses. We'll do some hip openers, hamstring openers. We'll do an arm balance. One of the reasons I love yoga is because we don't just work on flexibility, but also strength and balance and endurance, and of course, mental well-being as well. So as we move through class today, make this practice your own. Feel free to skip anything that doesn't feel right for you. Feel free to modify anything however you need to. You can make things easier or you can make them more challenging if you want to give yourself an extra challenge in any pose. So I hope you enjoy this class, and let's get started. All right, friends, let's start in child's pose. Find the shape. Find ease throughout all the different parts of your body here. Consciously try and relax your shoulders, soften your upper back, sink your hips down towards your heels. And just take a moment to give yourself complete permission to be present in your practice today. What you have to do after yoga, let it go. What you were doing before yoga, let that go too. Start to focus on the breath. Feel the body. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. Let's take one more breath. And then we'll meet each other in a tabletop position. Come onto the hands and knees. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Ground down through your fingertips. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. We'll go through some cat-cows here. Inhale, drop your belly down towards your mat. Gaze up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, round your spine. Tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, fill up the lungs as you gaze up, open through your throat. Exhale, drop the head, round the spine. Go through two more cat-cows. Flow with your breath here. Inhale as you look up. And exhale as you drop the head, round your back. One more. Good, and then come back to a flat back here. Let's move into downward facing dog. Bring your hands maybe slightly forwards on the mat. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. So maybe feel out a little movement here. Pedal into your feet. Maybe rock the hips from side to side. Feel the different parts of your body start to wake up. And then find some stillness where you are here in down dog. Work to ground your heels down into the mat. Notice if your fingertips are still pressing firmly down into the mat. And take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Gaze to the top of your mat and tiptoe your feet all the way to your hands. Bring your feet hips width distance. Grab opposite arm to opposite elbow. We'll come into ragdoll pose here. Feel free to take a little bend in your knees. Maybe add in some movement, rock side to side, or maybe even bounce the elbows up and down. Find complete relaxation in the back of your neck. So just let your head hang heavy. Take one more breath. And as you exhale this time, release your hands. Bring your fingers down to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold, drop the head. Inhale, slow and controlled, rise all the way up to stand. Reach the arms up to the ceiling, gaze up, press your palms together. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Relax your hands down to your hips. And we'll start to move a little bit here. Inhale, reach the arms up, mountain pose. Press your palms together. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the top of your head. Exhale, plant your palms flat. This time we'll step back, coming into a high plank position. Hold here. So if you ever need to lower the knees at any point, always feel free. And that goes for anything this practice. Try and find your core activation here, lifting your navel up towards the spine. And then find the breath for 3, 2, and 1. Lower the knees down if they're lifted still. Bend your elbows to bring the chest all the way down. Untuck your toes. Press the toenail sides of your feet down into the ground. Inhale, come into a baby cobra pose. Ground down through your pelvis. Lift your chest. Soften the shoulders away from your ears. For 3, 2, and 1. Drop the chest down. Inhale, press up onto your hands and knees, tabletop position. Exhale, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. We'll go for 3 rounds of breath here. Really starting to connect with the breath. 1 more round of breath. We'll keep our sun salutations going. Gaze to the top of your space, step forward, or if you want to take a jump forward, feel free. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to stand, mountain pose. Exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, high plank position. And this time we'll move right into our chaturanga. So we'll bend the elbows, come into a low plank. Option to lower the knees or keep them lifted. Inhale, upward facing dog. Straighten your arms, lift your chest. Exhale, roll over your toes, downward facing dog. And pause here for 2 rounds of breath. Find stillness, find your breath. One more breath. Good. Gaze forward, step or hop forward. If you're jumping, try and land with your big toes together. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, drop your head. Inhale, root to rise, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Drop the hands down. Inhale, extend your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back, or if you'd like to take a jump back into your low plank, we're moving from high to low plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Roll your shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take it back. One breath here. Gaze between your hands, step or lightly float the feet forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to stand, reach the arms up. Exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Okay, and then we'll take a couple sun B's here. So bring your big toes together, top of your mat. Drop your hips down to your heels, reach your arms up to the ceiling, chair pose, Utkatasana. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Spread your fingertips nice and wide. And drop the hips a little bit lower. Breathe for 5, 4, 3. Squeeze your inner thighs together. 2. And 1. Straighten your legs, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step or hop back high to low plank. Inhale, up dog, straighten the arms, firm your thighs. Exhale, downward facing dog. So if at any point through these vinyasas, you feel like the pace of your breath is faster or slower than mine, feel free to flow with your breath. You don't always have to keep up with my breath counts. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, place your foot between your hands. Plant your back foot flat on the ground. Inhale, reach your arms up, coming into warrior number 1. Look down at your right knee. Notice if it's stacked on top of your ankle. Oftentimes in the first warrior, it might be a little bit behind the ankle. So maybe bend a little bit more into the knee. Breathe here for 3, 2, 1 more breath. And 1, plant your palms, top of your mat. If you'd like to step straight back into downward dog, feel free. Otherwise, we'll take a vinyasa here. Step back into high plank. Bend your elbows into low plank. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step it between your hands. Feel free to take a couple baby steps to get it there. Plant your back foot flat down. Inhale, rise up, warrior number 1, Virabhadrasana number 1. So start with the left knee, find that positioning over your ankle. Soften the shoulders, but try and straighten the elbows as much as you can. And then find stillness, find your breath for 3, 2, and 1. Plant your palms, top of the mat. Either take a big step back into downward dog or step back into high plank. And then we'll lower into low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here. Take one more breath. We'll go through one more sun B together, then we'll take a little rest. So we'll do this time one breath per movement. Gaze to the top of your space, step or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Drop the hips, reach your arms up. Exhale, stand up, bring your hands to heart center. Here we go, one breath per movement. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step or jump back high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through, plant your back foot flat. Inhale, reach your arms up, warrior one. One breath. Exhale, hands to the ground. Either step straight back into dog or step back high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, big step forward. Back foot flat. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, plant the palms. Either take a step back into dog or step into high plank, lower into low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good work. Drop your knees to the ground. Let's take a child's pose here. Send the hips back, drop the forehead down. Find stillness in your body. Try and lengthen your exhales as much as you can. Notice the changes that have taken place inside your body. Feel the sensation of warmth and heat that's built up inside your body. Notice how the breath has become a little deeper. The mind might be a little bit more aware of the different parts of the body. Let's meet back in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, step it between your hands. Plant your back foot flat down. Inhale, this time spiral the arms open into warrior number two. Soften your wrists. Lock your eye gaze towards your front middle finger. From here, straighten your front leg. Ground down through your front big toe, anchoring the inner edge of your front foot down. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Reach your right arm back. And keep reaching back. You can slide your back hand down your back leg, or you can reach it around your back if that feels more comfortable. Maybe gaze up towards your top fingertips. Keep lengthening through the right side of your body. Take one more breath. And slowly start to come back into that warrior two position with the arms, but keep your right leg straight. And then we'll move into triangle pose here. Drop your right hand down to the ground. You can grab your ankle. If you have a block, you can bring your hand to a block, or the fingertips can come to the ground. If you've been taking this pose for a while, maybe play with bringing your peace fingers to your right big toe. And then the left arm is reaching up towards the ceiling. Maybe bring your eye gaze up towards that top hand. Breathe for 3, 2, take one more breath. And then lower your left hand all the way down to the ground. Slide your back foot about 6 inches towards your front heel. But keep your back toes pointing slightly towards the left side of your mat. From here, frame your front foot with your fingertips, or if you have 2 blocks, option to bring your hands to blocks. Inhale, lengthen your spine, straighten your right leg as much as you can. And as you exhale, fold over your front leg, coming into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Work to gently pull your right hip back, and at the same time, kind of spiral your left hip forwards. You should feel this scissoring action between your legs. Take one more breath. Keep your legs just as they are. Ground down through the big toe again of your front foot. Inhale, lengthen your spine, lift your chest. Exhale, we'll set up for revolve triangle. So plant your left hand on the outside of your front foot so your palm can be flat, or if you have a block, option to bring your left hand to a block here. Take your time getting that hand position, no rush. Whenever you have it, with an inhale, reach your right arm open towards the ceiling. If you feel steady, option to gaze up towards your top fingertips. If you feel a little bit wobbly, that's perfectly fine, but maybe keep your eye gaze down towards your front foot today. With your inhales, try and lengthen through your spine. And as you exhale, spiral your top shoulder open a little bit more. For 3, 2, keep reaching up with your top hand. And 1, nice job. Lower your top hand down to the mat. Crawl your fingertips to face the left side of your mat. And then point both of your feet so they face that left side of your mat. Plant your palms shoulder width distance in between your feet. Inhale, straighten your arms, lift your chest, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, drop the crown of your head down between your hands. Lift your kneecaps to engage your legs. With each exhale, move the crown of your head a little bit closer down towards the ground. Take 2 more deep breaths. And with your next inhale, straighten your arms to lift your chest. As you exhale, crawl your fingertips to the top of your mat. Point both of your feet to face the top of your mat. Plant your palms. And we'll move back into downward dog. So you can take a big step back, or if you'd like to take a vinyasa, feel free, go at your own pace. Good work. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step it between your hands. Plant your back foot flat down. Stack your left knee on top of your ankle here. And keep that positioning of the knee as you spiral the arms open into Warrior 2. Bring your arms in one straight line, so maybe even gaze towards your back arm Notice where it is in space. Take one more breath to feel inside your body. Straighten your front leg. Ground the left big toe down into the mat. Inhale, flip your left arm back, reversing the warrior. Maybe gaze up towards the top hand. For 3. Keep reaching back. 2. And 1. Bring the arms back to center. Lower your left hand down, Trikonasana triangle pose. Try and find expansion through the sides of your body, all the way through the top of your head. Energy radiating through the tips of your fingers. Breathe for 3, 2, 1 more breath. And 1. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Slide your back foot a couple inches towards your front foot. But remember, keep your back toes facing a little bit towards the right side of your mat. Bring your fingertips to frame your front foot on the ground or palms on blocks. Inhale, lengthen your spine, straighten your left leg, pull your left hip back. And as you exhale, fold over your front leg, pyramid pose. Left hip is rolling back, right hip is rolling forwards. Try and keep the left big toe anchoring down into the mat. Take 2 more breaths. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant your right hand on the outside of your left foot, flat on the mat or to a block. So take your time setting up here. Whenever you have it, inhale, reach your left arm up to the ceiling, revolve triangle. So maybe the eye gaze comes up, maybe it stays down. Doesn't matter. Find what works for you. Firmly anchor your right palm down into the ground. Consciously spiral your top shoulder open. For 3, 2, take 1 more breath. And 1, lower your top hand down to the mat. And this time crawl your fingertips to face the right side of your mat. Bring your feet to face the right side of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips. With a big inhale, press down through the soles of your feet and rise all the way up to stand. Exhale at the top. Inhale, open your arms. Exhale, interlace your fingertips behind your back. Inhale, straighten your arms, roll your shoulders back, drop the crown of your head back. And as you exhale, keep the bind with your fingertips as you fold forward. So eventually the crown of the head will touch down to the ground, but that takes time. So if it's not there yet, don't worry at all. Work to lift your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Feel the opening in between your shoulder blades. Take 2 more breaths. From here, release the bind with your fingertips. Bring your hands down to the ground. Plant your palms in between your feet. Inhale, straighten the arms, lift your chest. Exhale, crawl your hands to the top of the mat, and we're going to come into a malasana prayer squat. So take a big step forward with your left foot. So the toes are pointing slightly out towards the sides of your mat. Bring the hands to heart center. Press the palms together. Gently squeeze your knees into your elbows, and at the same time, gently press your elbows into your knees. From here, plant your palms, top of your mat, and we'll play with crow pose. So if crow isn't in your practice and you're like, nah, crow's not for me, I invite you to just try it. You don't have to get the full pose, but just fun to play with. So plant your palms, spread your fingers wide. Gaze in front of you. The tendency is to want to gaze down towards the ground, but keep your eye gaze in front of you. Knees come to the backs of your arms. And then if you know crow, go for it. Otherwise, just play with lifting one heel at a time. Lift one foot, then lift the other foot. Remember to keep looking in front of you. And eventually maybe finding the full position. So wherever you are, keep playing for 3, 2, if you're in crow, if you want to play with a big jump back, you can hop back into a low plank, bending the elbows, shooting your toes back. You can go through a vinyasa, back into dog pose. And if you're lower down in malasana, good work, good effort. You can step back into dog or take a vinyasa back. Remember, yoga isn't about getting the pose. It's about playing with the different shapes, exploring the different movements inside the body to get a deeper understanding of yourself. Gaze to the top of your mat, step or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll move into a couple of balancing poses here. We'll start with tree pose. Lift your right heel off of the ground. You can either bring your heel to your left ankle. You can even keep your right toes on the mat as a little kickstand, or bring your heel to your inner thigh. Press the palms together, heart center. Lock your eye gaze, your drishti, on one point in front of you. Keep looking at that one point. Option to extend your arms up to the ceiling. Try and be as still as you can in the pose. Find your breath. Take 3 more breaths. If you feel steady, option to gaze up towards your hands. And if you fall, that's okay. Last breath. And then slowly start to lower back down. And we'll move right into the left side. Try and keep all 4 corners of your bottom foot grounding into your mat. Hands can come to heart center to start. Lock the eye gaze. Focus the mind. So stay here, hands at heart center. Great place to be. Or reach the arms up. Find stillness. 3 more breaths. Keep the eye gaze looking forward, or if you'd like to bring it up, feel free. 1 more breath. And slowly lower. Good job. Relax your hands down to your sides. Inhale, sweep your arms up, mountain pose. Exhale, wrap your right arm underneath your left arm. So we're eagling up the arms. Now, if this is uncomfortable or if it doesn't feel right in your body, just grab opposite shoulders with your hands. And that will be perfectly fine for where we're going to go. So once you have your arm position, lift your left leg off of the ground. Wrap your left leg on top of your right leg. Find stillness here. Lift your elbows. Drop your hips a little bit lower. Notice if your elbows are in line with the knees. If they're over towards one side, try and bring them to the center of your body for 3, 2, and 1. Unwrap the arms, unwrap the legs, lower down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, wrap your left arm underneath your right arm. Lift your right leg off of the ground. Wrap your right leg over the left leg. Eventually, in eagle pose, the toes can slide behind your ankle. It takes a bit of hip and hamstring flexibility, so don't pressure yourself to get there, but just something to work towards. Finding stillness here. Lower the hips a couple inches down. Lift the elbows a little bit higher. Find the breath for 3, 2, and 1. Unwrap the arms, drop your right foot down. Good job. Inhale, sweep the arms up, mountain pose, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms. We'll make our way back into downward dog. Either step back or take a vinyasa back, following your breath. From down dog, inhale, lift your heels. So come onto the tips of your toes. As you exhale, wave into a high plank position. Good. From here, bring your right hand right in the center of your mat. So bring your right hand maybe 6 inches towards the left side. And we're going to come into a side plank on the right side, it'll be on the left side. So the left foot is going to stack on top of the right foot and then reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Now you can always lower your right knee down to the ground. That's perfectly fine here. But wherever you go, try and lift your left hip up towards the sky for 3, 2, and 1. Come back into your high plank position. Plant your left hand in the middle of your mat, and we'll do high plank on the other side. So the right foot will stack on top of the left foot. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling. For 3, lift your right hip as high as you can. 2, and 1. High plank. 1 more round. Right hand plants in the middle of the mat. Left foot stacks. Left arm reaches up. This time, if you feel steady, option to gaze up towards your top hand for 3. 2, lift the left hip. And 1, high plank. Last time, left hand plants in the middle of the mat. Right arm reaches up. Maybe gaze up. You can do it. For 3, 2, and 1. High plank pose just for a moment. And then drop your knees down to the ground. Good. Rise all the way up onto your knees. Bring your hands to your lower back. Thumbs are pointing towards the sides of your body. Other fingers are pointing towards your spine. We'll move right into camel pose. Gently drop your head back. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Enjoy the sensation of this back bend, opening the heart. Option to stay here, or if you'd like to bring your hands down to your heels, feel free. Take a couple more breaths. Last breath. And then start to rise back up to center. Good. And then from here, come onto the ground. We'll come into a puppy pose. So reach your arms forward. Hands are about shoulder width distance. You can bring your knees to whatever position feels comfortable. And then drop your chest down towards your mat. You should start to feel a nice opening in your shoulders and the chest. Maybe the chin comes all the way down. Take 2 deep breaths here. Take 1 more breath. And then start to slide the palms back towards the body. And we'll move right back into downward dog. Lift your hips. And without hesitation, with an inhale, lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, we'll move into half pigeon pose. Swing the knee forward. Drop your back knee down. And feel free to go right into whatever expression you'd like to take today. You can come onto your forearms. If you have a block, you can bring your forearms to the block. Or you can always crawl the fingertips out in front of you, bringing the forehead down to the ground. Find your breath. Feel the sensation in your right hip. With each exhale, see if you can soften into your right hip a little bit more. It's always interesting to notice what the mind does when we enter a pose, especially a pose where we're in stillness. Sometimes it stays focused on the breath, on the sensations, but more often than not, I find that, at least for me, the mind tends to wander off into thinking, and that's perfectly fine. No reason to judge ourselves over that, but whenever you notice that happen, just bring your attention back into the body. Again, feeling the breath, feeling the sensations inside the body. That's how we start to develop our mindfulness muscles. Take 1 more deep breath. And if your chest is lowered down, feel free to start to lift it back up. And we'll swing the right foot all the way back into downward facing dog. From here, bend your right knee. So we'll come into a 3-legged dog and then make some circles with your right knee, counter stretching. And then find stillness in downward facing dog. Lower the right foot down. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, half pigeon. Move right into it. Notice how this side is different from the other side. Notice how the sensations are maybe a little bit different. The stretch might feel more mild on this side, or it might feel a little bit more intense. Take 3 more breaths. And start to lift your chest back up. Swing your left foot back into downward facing dog. Lift your left foot, bend your left knee, make some circles. And then find stillness here. From here, drop your knees to the ground, and we'll come to a seated position with the legs facing the top of your mat. Bring your big toes together. Inhale, reach your arms up, gaze between your palms. And as you exhale, fold over the legs, Paschimottanasana. So grab whatever is accessible with your hands. Maybe the ankles, maybe the sides of your feet, or peace fingers can come to your big toes. Try and keep the backs of the knees anchoring down into the mat. Inhale, lengthen your lower back. Exhale, fold forward. Drop the forehead down. Inhales to lengthen the spine. Exhales to soften the lower back. Drop the forehead. Take 2 more breaths. And then start to lift the chest up. Release what you have with your hands, and then come onto your back. So we'll finish off our sequence together today with some inversions. So option 1, just come into a nice old waterfall pose. Lift your legs up towards the ceiling. You can bring your palms flat next to your sit bones. If you have a block, as always, feel free to use a block, bringing it behind your lower back. Or come into shoulder stand, bring your hands to your back, lift your legs all the way up. Or if there's any other inversion you'd like to take, maybe headstand, handstand, feel free to take that. This is your practice. If you have chosen to come into shoulder stand or waterfall, try and find a straight line with your legs over your hips. Breathe. Embrace the stillness. And if you'd like to move into plow pose, feel free to drop the legs behind your head.
If the toes touch down in plow pose, option to interlace your fingers and straighten your arms. If the toes are still hovering off of the ground, eventually they'll get there, but if they're still hovering, I would probably keep the hands on the lower back just to give yourself some extra support. I like to walk my shoulder blades together if the fingertips are interlaced. Notice if the breath has become shallow. Try and keep it nice and deep. If you're in plow pose, if you'd like to come into Karnapidasana, feel free to bend your knees towards the ears. If you're still in an inversion, waterfall, shoulder stand, or something else, hang out there as long as you'd like to, and if you ever feel like you've had enough, or if it's starting to feel uncomfortable in your body, always feel free to come out of it. And if you're in plow or Karnapidasana, slowly start to roll out onto your back. If you're in anything else, slowly start to come out of it, moving onto your back. So we'll meet with the legs facing towards the top of your mat. And we'll move into a fish pose, Matsyasana. So come onto your forearms. You can have your palms facing down towards the ground. From here, option 1, just drop your head back. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Option 2, if you'd like to play with coming onto the crown of your head, then you can reach your arms towards your toes on the mat. Palms facing the ground. So wherever you are, try and lift your chest, open through your throat. Breathe deeply in and out through your nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the chest or the chin back to your chest. That's a hard pose to tuck in. And then we'll meet flat on the back. From here, hug your right knee into your chest. Drop the right knee over to the left side of your body. Open your right arm to the right side. Gaze over your right shoulder. Do your best to keep both shoulders as close to the ground as you can. Start to move into this place of presence, of just accepting the moment as it is without trying to change anything. Just being completely content with where you are right here, right now. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. Start to come back to center. And we'll switch our legs out. Left knee hugs into the chest. Right leg straightens out. And we'll drop the left knee over to the right side of the body. Open your left arm to the left side. Gaze over your left shoulder. Final breath here. And twist back to center. Bend your right knee to meet your left knee, hugging both knees into the chest. Wrap your arms around your shin bones. Keep the back of your head down on the ground, but squeeze your legs into your rib cage. Try and keep the low back flat on the mat. Really creating this compression. So squeezing the tops of your thighs into the rib cage, into your abdomen. From here, lift your forehead up to the knees. Curl everything together into a tight little ball. Use all the energy that you have left inside your body today. Squeeze everything together. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Slow breath out the mouth. Release your legs. Open your arms, Shavasana pose. Find a comfortable position. Maybe allow your eyelids to close. Moving into a place of complete surrender. So notice if there's any resistance left inside your body. Resistance kind of feels like a clenched fist. And letting go is really the opposite of resistance. And we let go just by unclenching the fist, by finding relaxation inside the body, by ceasing to feed the thoughts flowing through the mind. There's a great saying that I heard the other day. If you let go a little, you find a little peace. If you let go a lot, you find a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you find complete peace. Take a deep breath in through the nose, filling up the lungs with fresh oxygen. And let it go out your mouth. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Reach your arms overhead. Take a big full body stretch. Expand your fingers wide, point through the toes. And then roll onto either side of your body. Come into a fetal position. take a moment to feel some gratitude towards yourself for practicing today, for making the time for yourself. And at your own pace, make your way up to a seated position, top of your mat. Find a nice tall spine. You can relax your hands on your knees. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Close your eyes, find your breath. As we close our practice today together, I want to invite you to, as you move into your day or move into your week, lately my mantra has been to trust the waves. So I invite you to consider implementing this into your life. I've found that oftentimes life doesn't play out exactly how we want it to play out. And unwanted things tend to happen. Things that we want don't always happen when we want them to happen. And our default reaction is often to try and change the natural flow of life to meet us where we are, to somehow fulfill our desires when we want them fulfilled. But I've found that oftentimes this actually brings more suffering and it brings us more unfulfillment when we're trying to change the nature of life. And on the other hand, I've found that when we are able to surrender to the circumstances of our life and when we're able to accept life as it is, we find so much more peace and so much more harmony in our lives. So I invite you to trust the waves of your life, to live in harmony with what is, and trust the process. And we'll bring our hands to heart center, press the palms together. And we'll take one more deep breath together and inhale through the nose. A slow exhale out your mouth, letting go completely. And whenever you're ready, blink open the eyes. Namaste, friends. Thanks so much for your energy, for your effort. Again, my name is Mike, and I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment below, or hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my videos in the future. So thanks again for practicing with me today. Namaste.